past that point, when we're talking about the special edition, this is where I wish Chevy would just listen. They need to wake up, bottom line.
Three, two, one. Anywhere I'm at, turn the city up. I can flip a dime to $1 million. I don't like to brag, but I'm really on. 3, 2.
Guys, welcome back to the channel. And for anyone that's new, my name is Jeff, and this is where I share my random passions with you guys. Anybody that knows me will tell you that I am pretty random, but I'm very calculated with my finances, hence the name of the channel. This is where I share my passions for cars. Obviously behind me, I have a 2024 Mustang Dark Horse, new to the channel. I had a 2021 C8 in Rapid Blue, a 2023 hardtop convertible 70th anniversary C8 Corvette in Carbon Flash Black. If you'd like to take a look at any of those cars throughout the channel, feel free to do it. This upload, we're going to be talking about my 2023 hardtop convertible and why I got rid of that car. There's things I liked, things I didn't like, and things Chevy need to change. I have a passion for firearms and a passion for watches. This is my GMT Master 2 root beer. I have a nice little Rolex collection, so if you'd like to check out the firearms or the Rolexes, feel free to dive through the channel. But today, we're going to be talking about the hardtop convertible 70th anniversary C8 and why I sold that car. I did not think I'd be making this upload. Hence, again, pretty random. For those of you who don't know, I purchased all my cars from Whitmore Auto Group out in Pennsylvania. It's recently been purchased by Kingley Automotive, and that's where I purchased all my cars. So shout out to Nick, Matt, Mason, all you guys. I can't thank you enough. And I gotta give a shout out to Black Glass Tinting. Amazing work. Did the tint job on this car. Detailed the car after a blizzard. I'll put a link right here on that video. It's a long story. A shout out to Custom Clear Tech, Shy for all the PPF, and my buddy Jeff from Proceeder Reflection for doing all this ceramic coating on my cars. Gotta thank all of you guys. So this upload, let's jump right into it. My 2023 C8 hardtop convertible 70th anniversary special edition. Whew. You don't know what you don't know. And what I mean by that is when I first purchased that car, I was kind of in a catch-22, right? I'm the kind of person that likes to drive my cars. Here I am on this special edition, and I made a video on this. They made roughly right around 900 or so, and the hardtop convertible in a Carbon Flash Black. And I realized that every time I'm driving this car, the value depreciates. Usually I'm not one that really cares about that. But as special as that car was to me and what it represented, I was kind of like, should I drive it? Should I not? And to be honest with you, it was kind of stressing me out. It's not third world problems. Believe me, people got serious problems in this world, and this is not one of them, okay? But I was stressing myself out as far as that, right? The other thing was the interior. Even though Jeff did an amazing job from Proceeder Reflection with his ceramic coat, didn't have any problems, but the stress levels of having white interior was kind of weighing on me. I just like to hop in my cars and go. I don't like having to think about it. Didn't have any problems with it, but I realized I don't like white seats. I just don't, you know. I didn't really think it was become a problem, but I just don't. So with the essence of it being a special edition and then the seats, and then the biggest part for me was I was getting ready to modify this car. I was this close for putting a lot of money into this car. And this stems with all C8 Corvettes, not including the Z06. Right around 750 to the tires is where you really start to think about what you're doing to your car. Unfortunately, it's, in my opinion, and from what I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but right around 750 to the tires, you're going to have to mess around the internals of that motor. You're going to have to mess around with the clutch pack. The axles have been known to be weak, even from stock. You have to replace those. And you may or may not, depending on your power level, replace the brakes. And exhaust, we all know this by now. The exhaust on the stock C8s is just too damn quiet. So you need to replace that. You don't need to, but you probably will. By the time you add all this up, you have to think to yourself, is this platform worth the money? For some people it is, for some people it's not. For me, absolutely not. It was not worth the money. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this was expensive or not expensive. It really depends on you and your income. For some people, they'll compare this platform to other supercars and say this is not expensive. So it's kind of irrelevant as far as price point, but I can tell you that I was not willing to put that kind of money in that platform to go to 750 and above. I just wasn't willing to do it. So that's what it led to me, what got me to this point, right? Maybe I'm expecting too much from Chevy. but I think they should have built that car stronger. I really do. I don't understand why you can have a 2024 Dark Horse, right, with the internals from a GT500 in the Coyote, and you can make north of 830 to the tires with no problem without messing around with the internals. But yet Chevy, I mean, you know, you can't do that with the C8. I understand it's a new platform. I get it. Having a mid-engine in the back, it's a whole completely new design, but they've had many years to figure this out as far as the block, not the design of the car. So I was pretty disappointed in that, you know what I mean? And the clutch packs, I get it. It's a different design. Trivik made that transmission specifically in a dual clutch for the C8s. And yeah, maybe there's still some more research and engineering. And I understand that by now, right, we know the HP tuners that came out and you can tune that car. Completely get that. It's kind of a new thing in the last year or so. And they have got better with the clutch packs. But my issue is from the factory, the way that car was presented. Hey, this is pretty much a baseline supercar. In my opinion, a Grand Touring supercar, right? That's a very heated subject for a lot of people. And that has changed. My mind has changed slightly from that. I think they should have made the motor stronger. I think the clutch packs, maybe they weren't available at the time, should be able to hold a little more power, right? The exhaust should have been much louder in those cars. Absolutely. There's absolutely no reason why, right? And I understand, yeah, when it first came out, the base price was right around 60 grand, and then it was a bargain for the money, right? Absolute bargain. These are in the 60s. And some people are going to say, well, a Mustang in the 60s is outrageous. This is more than just a Mustang. It's not your average Mustang. The suspension, the motor, the trans, the exhaust, everything, especially the brakes, all that is drastically different than a regular GT. Different subject. However, my point is, if other brands can do that, then Chevy should be able to do it as well. And I completely understand it's a different platform in research and engineering. I get it. Parts in that car, yes, it's going to be a lot more money, especially the dual clutch. GT500, you might as well hop to that, you got yourself a dual clutch. So maybe I'm getting a little harsh here on Chevy. So I wasn't willing to do that. I wasn't willing to put that kind of money in that car for that platform. Now, is it worth it to somebody else? Yeah, there's 1,000 people out there who have done it, and they love their C8s. I think the C8 in general, as a baseline, if you're not going to modify it, is one of the best cars you can buy for the money. Again, issue is when you start getting to that point where you want to modify it, how much do you want to spend? By the time you get done, you could have bought yourself a pre-owned R8 or, you could have bought yourself a Z06 or whatever, right? A C8 Z06. You could have bought a lot of other things for the amount of money you're going to end up putting in that car. So those were some of my issues with that platform. Past that point, when we're talking about the special edition, this is where I wish Chevy would just listen. They need to wake up, bottom line. If you're going to come out with a car that's a special edition, don't have a color that you already brought out in the carbon flash black and the C6. Bring it back as a new color when it's not in 2023. And then in 2024, release it for all the rest of the cars. You're going to depreciate that car for what it is. That's number one. Number two, do something with the performance. You did absolutely nothing for the performance on that car. The brakes, Z51 brakes, Z51 suspension, the mag rod, the motor, identical to a regular C8. You changed the interior and it looked absolutely stunning. Again, I mentioned the white seats, not a big deal. You can get them in the competition with the black center, so you have no more problem with the white center on the seats. The motor should have been something different than a regular standard C8 Corvette. Instead, what did you do? You gave everybody some really amazing, and they're gorgeous, 70th anniversary suede luggage that came with the car, some different center caps of the car, different badging, and all that looks amazing. Completely understand. However, that's just not enough. Honestly, it's not enough. When other cars are out there, hence the Dark Horse, right? This is totally different. The performance is roughly 20, 30 horsepower more than GT, but the internals of this motor are from the GT500. A lot stronger. This is just an example. A lot stronger than a regular GT. The exhaust is a lot better than GT500. Brakes, 15.4-inch 6-piston brakes. They increased everything. So in my opinion, that should have been changed. Now, some were saying, well, that's what the Z06 is for. Well, the Z06 is totally different. For the first time ever, they had a flat plane crank. So that was not, they still could have enhanced the motor, right, in the Z51 and still had your flat plane crank with the Z06. well, then people are going to say, well, it could have been a different platform in between. That's true. Maybe there's going to be a different car coming out, a different variation with a different motor. I have a feeling it's probably going to be a hybrid down the road. I still think they could have done it, in my opinion. They still could have made that motor a little bit different for the 70th anniversaries. So yes, the Z06 has carbon fiber brakes as far as an option. Again, that's a whole different suspension, a whole different platform, as expected. The ZR1 back in the C7s was absolutely amazing, and the C6 ZR1s were amazing as well. The C6 ZR1s had ceramic brakes, and they had a different motor as far as a blower and everything else. It's just different cars. So enough rambling about that, but that's my opinions of what they could have changed. So as a recap, they could have changed the motor, made it stronger, made it a different variation from Z51 to Special Edition. They could have not released the carbon flash color in 2024, which depreciates it for the 2023s. And they could have, in my opinion, changed out the exhaust in that car for the Special Editions. So when you add all that up, those are just things I was thinking of. Those drive me a little bit, I wouldn't say batty, but it was weighing my mind. And here I am sitting with this money, and I'm thinking to myself, do I want to upgrade this car when I have these feelings, these things inside of me that are telling me, hey, this is what you're thinking about before you modify this car? And the answer is no. So I contacted Nick Newmaker, and I contacted Mac Beaver over at Whitmore Auto Group, and the car was sold, and it's in a new home. And the owner of the C8, from what I understand, of my previous 70th anniversary, also had a Special Edition C6, which absolutely was an anniversary edition and gorgeous. So it makes me very happy that it's going to a home where somebody else will appreciate the anniversary, and hopefully, it'll be taken care of. I don't think they're going to abuse the car, so I think it's in good hands, and I highly doubt they're going to modify the car, which makes me very happy. I think that's where that car should be. So, for everybody that has C8 Corvettes, I'm not knocking on the car itself. The Z51, for a baseline car, for what it's representing now, I think start coming to 70s, absolutely worth it. I just think Chevy could do some things different as time is going along. I mean, talking 2020 to 2024, they've had 4 years to change some variations as far as that motor and everything, and I really think they should do it. Obviously, you have the E-rates being released, and for everybody that's got one right now, they're just now coming out, all-wheel drive and a hybrid, and that has a standard Z51 motor in it with a hybrid. I mean, honestly, guys, I'm talking to Chevy now. I don't even know if you had to do that. I mean, you could have just upgraded that motor and not made that all-wheel drive, but I understand from the conception of the Z51, that was the goal. The center console was always designed to house batteries for the hybrid system, so that was always in play. And once you start going down the build process, bill of materials, your schematics, your drawings, and your CC machines and all that stuff, you're not going back. So if you made a decision from the very beginning, here's the baseline of this car before it was even sold, you're not going to change your mind. Completely understand that from a production point of view. So guys, that is the reason why I sold my C8. Would I buy another C8? I probably would not purchase another Z51. I do miss the performance, the 0 to 60, less than 3 seconds, absolutely phenomenal. I do miss the dual clutch. That dual clutch and that 0 to 60, dark horse, there's no comparison, right? To a point. And again, that'd be a different video. But I do miss the that aspect of the car. I really do. So moving forward, what am I going to do? The dark horse is going to stay. We'll do a whole other video on that as far as why I bought that car compared to the C8. So with that being said, guys, you guys have a great day. Like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and I will see you at the next upload. See ya.